Hello everybody, and welcome to the first Barents talk organized by the Norwegian Barents Secretariat. My name is Anja Salo. I work at the Norwegian Barents Secretariat as head of communications now, and I'm also in charge of tonight's debate. So what's Talking Barents all about? We want to discuss important and challenging topics in the bilateral relations between Norway and Russia, and we also want to discuss topics in the Barents region in general. And it is nice to see that so many of the people in Sør-Varanger took their time to come here tonight, because we really want you to be part of the discussions of the future of the Barents cooperation and to take part in the discussions tonight as well. Ask as many questions as you can to the panelists. And we will start out with a debate about the foreign agent law in Russia. It came into force in 2012, but we haven't seen so many results of the law in the Barents region until recently. Unfortunately, we don't have any representatives of the Russian authorities in the panel tonight. We tried to get the Ministry of Justice to come here in Murmansk, and also the General Consulate here in Kirkenes, but unfortunately they could not come. But we have a very good panel, and we have a brilliant moderator, the very good journalist from NRK, Ida Gulvik. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Andy. I just want to ensure that everyone is prepared for the long talk ahead. Does everyone have a glass of water? Everyone has a cup of coffee or a glass of beer? Good. Could someone bring me a glass of water, please?
Yes.
Thank you. As Anja said, welcome to this Talking Barents debate. Sadly, without a representative of the government, we'll do our best, and we count on your critical questions from the floor as well. The Russian foreign agent law was introduced in 2012 in order to ensure transparency. That is, that everyone would know which political organizations that receive foreign funding. The majority of organizations labeled foreign agents in the Barents region were included in the first half of 2015. With us here today, we both have foreign agents, an expert on the legal side of the foreign agent law, and a creator of foreign agents, I will claim, but we'll see what he thinks about that. Could the members of the panel introduce themselves with their names, their titles, and their status as a foreign agent, if they have one? You can start on the left.
Добрый вечер.
Good evening.
К сожалению, я не говорю по-английски.
Unfortunately, I don't speak English.
Приношу извинения.
I have to apologize.
Зовут меня Виталий Черкасов. Я адвокат из города Санкт-Петербург.
My name is Vitaly Cherkasov, and I'm a lawyer from St. Petersburg.
Я представляю межрегиональную правозащитную ассоциацию «Агора», которая известна как в России, так и в Европе.
I represent the Interregional Association of Human Rights, Agora, that is known both in Russia and internationally.
Pass the mic on to Anna.
Hi, my name is Anna Kireeva. I'm a former member of a Russian environmental organization Belona Murmansk. In March this year, we were registered as foreign agents, and in October we closed the organization, so I'm not a foreign agent anymore.
Valentina.
Hello, my name is Valentina. I'm working in LGBT organization Maximum. We are working in Murmansk region, and we receive our status like a foreign agent in February. Now we are not exist anymore, then we are not a foreign agent too.
Hello, my name is Tatiana Egrova. I'm a manager of Barents Indigenous Peoples Office and the secretary for Working Group on Indigenous Peoples in Barents region. We are not agents yet, but we have faced that problem.
And my name is Bjørn Engesland, Secretary General of the Norwegian Helsinki Committee, a Norwegian human rights group based in Oslo. Not a foreign agent. I don't think we are even, or I am even a creator of foreign agents. But if you want to give me a label, I guess that would be a persona grata, which I have been given by the Russian government. Thank you.
and together I hope that we can shed some light on what the foreign agent law is and what it could mean for the cooperation in the Barents region. I would like us to start with just the basics. Vitaly, could you just explain to us, who are not very well versed in Russian law, what is the foreign agent law? What does it say, and what consequences does it have?
Но вначале хочу тоже подтвердить, что общественная организация, которую я представляю, Агора, тоже является иностранным агентом, признана таковой.
First of all, I must confirm that Agora, the NGO that I represent, is also a foreign agent, as it was registered as such.
Деятельность некоммерческих организаций в России регулируется законом об общественных организациях и некоммерческих организациях.
Activities by NGOs in Russia are regulated by the law on public or NGO organizations.
В данных законах, я считаю, достаточно было прописано порядок регистрации таких организаций, отчета перед государственными органами, и полагаю, что этого было достаточно для того, чтобы государство могло контролировать общественные организации.
I believe the formally existed law was enough to regulate the accounting of such organizations and their registration.
Однако, как здесь уже сказали, в декабре 2012 года были внесены поправки в этот закон, которые кардинально изменили ситуацию в общении между государством и некоммерческими организациями.
However, as it has been mentioned, in December 2012, amendments were made to this law, and they radically changed the relations between the governments and NGOs.
В законе появилось такое понятие, как иностранный агент.
The law introduced the notion of a foreign agent.
Все мы прекрасно понимаем, что любая общественная организация, если она пытается профессионально и качественно выполнять свою работу, нуждается в каком-то финансировании.
We all realize that any NGO, if they are trying to work efficiently, need some source of funding.
В России те организации, которые бы хотели быть независимыми от государства, они всегда пытались найти поддержку со стороны независимых общественных представителей как внутри России, так и за рубежом.
And in Russia, those organizations that tried to be independent from the government always were in search of some support, either nationally or internationally.
Пожертвователи из числа российских граждан либо фондов существовали в России до определенного момента, когда после известных событий, связанных с уничтожением основного фонда «Открытая Россия», который руководил Ходорковский,
And donators and funding organizations had existed in Russia before the founder of the Open Russia Fund, Mikhail Khodorkovsky.
Вот после этого момента многие общественные представители, которые готовы были финансировать работу некоммерческих организаций, они получили такой посыл, что не нужно выделять деньги на эту деятельность.
When he was imprisoned, and this was a signal to similar organizations that they should not engage in such activities.
И в этой ситуации с середины 2000-х годов основным пожертвователем для вот таких вот независимых общественных организаций стали общественные фонды Запада.
And in the emerging situations in the mid 2000s, the only sources for such organizations were those abroad.
Российское правительство, я полагаю, какое-то время с этим мирилось.
And the Russian government was prepared to put up with that until a certain moment.
Но руководство нашей страны понимало, что в ситуации, когда все институты власти и общества выстроены, а существуют какие-то неподконтрольные институты гражданского общества, это не порядок в понимании Кремля.
But in Kremlin's opinion, when the whole organization structure is ready, it is no good when some organizations are out of place or sort of independent.
И тогда вот появился вот такие поправки в закон о некоммерческих организациях.
And that was when such amendments on non-profit organizations were adopted.
Сегодня основные признаки, которые дают возможность правительству ту или иную организацию назвать иностранным агентом, их два.
Today there are only two signs or principles or features that help to identify a foreign agent in Russia.
Первое, о котором я уже рассказал, организация должна получать пожертвования из-за границы.
Number one, like I said before, the organization should be funded or supported financially from abroad.
А вторая позиция – это то, что она должна при этом заниматься политической деятельностью.
And secondly, it should be engaged in political activities.
Can I ask, how does the Russian government define political activities?
Ну вот, в этом и вся суть.
That's the main point.
Определение политической деятельности так размыто,
The definition of political activity is so blurred
что под эту деятельность можно подвести любые общественные акции любой общественной организации.
that any activities by any public NGO can be regarded as such.
В законе так и прописано, что если организация участвует в общественной акции, цель которой воздействие на государственные органы с целью принятия изменения ими государственной политики,
The law specifies that if an organization is engaged in any campaign or action directed targeted at changing the public opinion, which in terms can influence the government's policy.
получается, что если организация выходит на улицу с какими-то плакатами и говорит о том, что нам чего-то не нравится, и мы просим изменить это, мы полагали, что это и будет являться признаком политики, участия в политической деятельности.
For example, if an organization comes out with a poster demanding something or telling people that they are not happy with some situation, it is already can be regarded as such activity.
Однако наше правительство считало более широким круг вот этих вот действий, акций.
This was our understanding, but the government understanding is much broader.
К примеру, если раньше у нас сеть правозащитных организаций в течение 15 лет занималась проблемами пыток в отделах полиции, и это считалось, что в интересах общества проводится такая работа.
For example, if formally an organization for 15 years engaged in investigation of tortures in the police, and it was regarded as a positive activity,
то после принятия поправок в закон это почему-то тоже было отнесено к политической деятельности.
when the amendments to the law were adopted, these were also regarded as political activity.
Если представители экологической организации обеспокоены тем, что у них в регионе уничтожаются ценные породы птиц, обращаются к губернатору с требованием на время запретить охоту, то государство тоже расценивает это как политическую деятельность.
And when an environment protection organization addressed the governments asking for a ban on hunt of valuable bird species, this also was regarded as a political activity.
Если общественная организация, которая много лет занималась проблемами в армии, поднимает голос и говорит о том, что вот у нас начались какие-то непонятные противодействия в Восточной Украине и просит выяснить, отправлять ли туда регулярные российские армии, ее тоже записывают в иностранные агенты.
Or when a public organization was trying to investigate the troubles with the army in East Ukraine and whether our troops should be sent there or not, this also was regarded political activity.
So this stamp as a foreign agent is very easy to acquire, but how can you get rid of it? Is there any way to lose it?
Способов тоже два.
There
Первое,
are, there are also two ways.
по сегодняшнему нашему закону способов два. Первый способ – это отказаться от иностранного финансирования.
Under the existing law, there are two ways. The first way is to stop receiving financial aid from abroad.
И через какое-то время вас могут убрать из реестра иностранных агентов.
And then some time later, you can be disqualified or taken away from the list of foreign agents.
Некоторые общественные организации идут по этому пути,
Some NGOs do that.
но большинство организаций, которые вошли в реестр иностранных агентов, сейчас приняли решение о добровольной ликвидации.
But the majority of such organizations have made a decision to shut down, voluntary.
Thank you. It's worth mentioning that the foreign agent law is not unique to Russia. There are versions of this law in Norway and in the United States, for instance. But it's interesting to see why it becomes problematic in Russia, and we're going to get back to that later. But first of all, I want to talk a bit about the name foreign agent itself, because it has certain particular associations in Russia that makes it extra problematic. I was wondering if the members of the panel could just tell me what does the term foreign agent, what kind of images does that create in Russian people? I don't know if you want to start, Björn, but you can if you want to.
Yeah, I guess for most of the organizations that get this term used on them or being labeled as a foreign agent, it is a problem. Of course it's a problem. It's a way that is considered to make them stigmatized somehow, to put them in a difficult position versus the rest of the population. And in my view, that is probably some of the aim of the government to use that exact label on these organizations. On the other hand, I guess for the time being, with so many organizations having been called, described, labeled to be a foreign agent, it's a kind of a quality mark also for them, at least between themselves, in a way. So it goes both ways, but of course the main consequence is that this is a very problematic thing to be called.
Tatiana, if I say foreign agent to you in Russian, which I can't, I'm sorry, that's embarrassing, but what kind of pictures did that create?
Well, actually, I think it echoes back to Soviet period when foreign agent was like spy, foreign spy. So it is a very, very bad thing, and no one, actually, no organization and no person want to be called that nowadays, Russia.
Valentina, is a foreign agent someone with a trench coat and microfilm is that how people perceive it when you say that you have been labeled a foreign agent?
Yeah, I totally agree with
It's not a badge of
Tatiana,
honor?
but spy. When I try to introduce my organization like a foreign agent, it's mean for people, it's mean we are spy. And of course, we are not good guys for our society.
I have nothing to add. Well, the first association is of course with a spy or somebody who is doing some damage to your own country for the benefit of another. So it's
Thanks.
Есть опасения, что после появления такого термина тяжело будет членам вот таких организаций исполнять свою обязанность. Не просто исполнять свою обязанность, а проживать в своем городе, потому что есть случаи зарегистрированные, когда на них нападали, когда им угрожали, когда им говорили: вот чемодан, езжай в свою Европу, ты здесь не нужен.
There is even an apprehension that after people have been labeled like that, they will not only find it difficult to continue their activities, but also just find it difficult to live where they are, because there have been real cases when people have been threatened, they have been assaulted, they have been told, take your suitcase and go away from the country.
Anna, Bellona Murmansk, where you used to work, received the label of foreign agent this spring, and you immediately decided to shut down your organization. Why is that?
Well, we deeply disagreed with the status of the foreign agent. I mean, the Bellona Murmansk was a Russian, registered in Russia NGO, environmental NGO, and since its existence, we underlined all the time that we have no connection to politics. We are only for environmental issues here. And when the Ministry of Justice finds some political activity in your pure environmental work, it means that you cannot continue like this anymore. And also it was a matter of principle. I mean, nobody wants to be a foreign agent. Even people working for Bellona, who used to work for Bellona in Murmansk, didn't want to be labeled like foreign agents. So for us it was straight away a no-go decision for the future. We made a decision to close down and find another juridical form for ourselves.
I think this is interesting because here we all immediately going to touch upon the grey area between policy and, I guess, environmental or social work. Because I guess I thought that, oh yes, of course, environmental work, that's political, isn't it? Shouldn't you just release information about your funding and be upfront about it?
Well, since the existence of Bellona Murmansk, the organization received almost all its financial support from Norwegian Bellona, of course. We never tried to hide the fact, and we have all the financial reports of our organization on our website, so everybody can read it. So it was not an issue for us. When it comes to what is politics, what is environment, that's a very good question, because the law doesn't identify it anyhow. I mean, if you are saving rabbits, that's okay, that's environment. But if you are saying, well, it is too risky to drill in the Arctic for all the countries, I mean, is it politics or is it environment? And when it comes to the case of Bellona Murmansk, when we read this conclusion of the Ministry of Justice, which came to the idea that Bellona Murmansk is involved into politics, the features of political activities were something like the organization implemented several activities preventing environmental pollution of the Murmansk region. I mean, that's the biggest compliment you can ever make to environmental NGO, and that's the political activity. Or, for example, we state that when it comes to environment, according to the Russian environmental legislation, it is much cheaper for polluters to pay environmental fines than to modernize the production. I mean, you live very close to the Norilsk nickel enterprise, so you know what I'm talking about. And when the Minister of Environment states this, this is just logical. And when the NGO states this, this is the introduction into politics. So I mean, all these things, like, this is the feature of political activity. We really disagreed with all this.
But in the months that has gone since you decided that you were going to close down Bellona Murmansk, what kind of experiences have you had? Has it been extremely difficult? Have doors been shut in your face because you now are spies for a foreign agent?
It was a bit of both. When it's the regional level and municipal level, and another thing is the federal level. I mean, Bellona Murmansk has been deeply engaged in the issues of nuclear and radiation safety in the region. And even when the organization became the foreign agent, we received a grant from Rosatom, which is the former nuclear ministry, for a joint seminar, Bellona and Rosatom, where they came to Murmansk and reported to Bellona of how they worked successfully and so on, how they clean up the heritage of the Cold War and so on. But when it comes to regional level, it's a little bit more into emotions and a little bit more complicated, because when you are in a debate with the representatives of the regional Minister of Environment and who worships the coal mining company, and you just argue with the guy, and when he has no other arguments, he's saying to your face, like, you're a foreign agent, why the hell shall I listen to you? That's a little bit different. Then you think that it is very hard to find a common basic to continue to work together. But when it comes to the general situation, I didn't notice that much changed. Well, I didn't lose any friends because I was a foreign agent. Well, my family was okay about that. What else? And also when it comes to the organization, we also had our opponents, we had our supporters, and of course structures who didn't like us. Not much changed since then.
This is what's fascinating, but with this law is because it has so many different effects, and it affects so many different people. Because Bellona St. Petersburg has not been affected by the foreign agent law, while Bellona Murmansk has had to shut down. So it's sort of arbitrary who becomes a foreign agent and not.
Well, yes, we also were thinking about it in Bellona, but this is not a question to me. I don't know.
I just find it fascinating that people experience it in so different ways. Because Valentina, in your case, this has been much more serious. The foreign agent law has hit Maximum in a completely different way than it hit Bellona. Could you just tell us a bit about the work that you do and how the foreign agent law has affected you?
I have to say that our organization called before like a center for support victims of homophobia. What does it mean? It means that we are working with the people, we are a social center, and our main aim to help people. I don't know where you can find a political activity in our case, to be honest. But in our case, we had an audit from Ministry of Justice in July, and they didn't find any political activity in our work. In the autumn, we decided maybe our work is not so good, but okay. But in February, we was surprised a little bit because we was put in this list without any our wish, and we had. We tried to change something, but it was impossible because the reason why we are foreign agent, it's first because we had calendars from one of our colleagues from Arkhangelsk. They were foreign agent at that time. The head of our organization, he wrote something in his social network that he doesn't agree with something, and we recognize that we don't have our private opinion. What about our volunteers now and me also? I'm psychologist. When I came first day and start my work, I received some message, and the message was like, "I will cut your eyes." This could show that it's not safety to work in Russia with LGBT community at all, and it's not safety to be part of LGBT community at all. And now we have like a double stigma. I cannot reproduce human rights. When I start to talk like a gay, or I start to talk like a foreign agent. In real, I'm talking like a gay foreign agent. Unfortunately, yes, for us it started to be so difficult to work with public organizations. For example, everyone knows that MSM group is vulnerable for HIV. This is our aim to organize something to prevent HIV in our region. When I come to HIV center and I start to talk with them, the head of HIV center told me, "I cannot work with you because you will involve us in some political issue and you want to provoke me to do something." How I can explain that to take tests, it's not political activity? I don't have any tool to explain this. And of course now we have private responsibility for everything what we are doing. If, for example, in the past we worked in organization, and of course it was quite different. Now, if I will make some mistake, I will go to prison or I will pay fine. Not my organization, me. And this, of course, very hard for us. and it's so difficult to explain volunteers why they have to work, why they have to help for other people, if they cannot be in safety. And one more example, if you don't mind. In April, I have to say that it's not something new, but our office was attacked several times during last year. And in April, they call themselves like Orthodox activists. I call them Orthodox volunteers. They put gas in our office and 2 persons was hurt, one of them child, just 4 years old. And of course what we did, we just called the police and asked them to help. Till now, you can see that it's more than 6 months. Police answered us that it's not crime. These people, they have private opinion and they can show this. What it means for me? If tomorrow someone will beat me on the street, it will be opinion, private opinion. But if I will try to help people, like a psychologist, I'm a foreign agent.
This is obviously a very, especially difficult case for you because, as you say, you become doubly stigmatized. Do you also see that the foreign agent status not only attaches itself to an organization, but also to you as a private person?
Yes, because of course I will not introduce myself like, hi, I'm foreign agent Valentina. No, I will not do this, but even, just one example, even in my family, after this law, my fathers, they start to make a joke. Hello, our spy. It means that, of course, it will influence for me, because I have some reputation, and when people look at me, they say, this is psychologist, yes, she's working in the university, but you know, I know something for her. I know that some West countries paid for her, but no one cannot see what we are really doing for people.
I would like to ask the rest of the panel if you have any experiences about how this foreign agent label can migrate from an organization to private people and how that affects their lives.
Well, I was a foreign agent for half a year, and I never faced such a thing. I mean, I never felt any threats. I never received any threats. I never felt any danger for myself, and my colleagues did the same. But also, with all the respect, I think it's just one of the exceptions. I mean, with the gay group, because it's the special attitude in Russia to the gay people. I think it's connected with this mostly, not with the foreign agent step.
I can say a few words about myself. I just heard some jokes because I'm working with Norwegians and I'm actually getting my salary from Norway. And I've been told, oh, you're an agent, Norwegian agent, so how are you, spy? It is just jokes, but you know, there is some truth in every joke.
Vitaly, I don't know if you've had any experiences of this in your work.
Организация Агора в целом анализирует ситуацию со случаями нападения на общественных активистов, членов НКО на протяжении уже ряда лет.
Our organization, Agora, has been analyzing the cases of attacks on activists and NGO members for several years already.
Запугивание, угрозы, нападения, физическая расправа происходили и раньше, но это было не такими частыми явлениями, как сейчас в последнее время.
Intimidation, threats, physical aggression, assaults used to happen before, but not as frequently as now.
Некоторым гражданским активистам создают невыносимую жизнь по месту их жительства. Доходит до такого.
Some civil rights activists are experiencing difficulties at the places where they live.
Известен случай, когда активист утром, выходя из своей квартиры, обнаруживал на своей двери с наружной стороны непристойные надписи о том, что он иностранный агент и лучше бы он проваливал в свою Америку.
One civil rights activist is known to have found a note on his door when he was leaving his apartment. On the outside of the door, he had obscene notes with threats and recommendations to leave the country.
Другая активистка, у которой есть маленький ребенок, утром, когда она тоже вышла из дома и подошла к детской коляске, чтобы положить ребенка в коляску, она обнаружила на коляске крупную надпись тоже «Иностранный агент».
Another activist who has a small baby, she was leaving her apartment and she approached the baby pram and found a sign on the pram, foreign agent.
Мой личный пример. Я 10 лет занимался правозащитной деятельностью. Вся моя семья знала, чем я занимаюсь. Они к этому относились лояльно.
My personal experience, I was engaged in civil rights protection for 10 years. All my family members were aware of what I was doing and they thought it was normal.
Но мой отец, который пенсионер МВД, который всю жизнь работал на государство,
But my father, a retired police officer who served the government all his life,
так вот, после вот этой всей пропаганды, которая вот в последние годы льется с экранов телевизионных,
after all that propaganda from the TV channels,
да, вот после этого он, видимо, впитался этой пропагандой.
he was like saturated with all that propaganda.
И когда он мне позвонил, он живет в другом городе, позвонил и сказал, вот сегодня 12 июня, День России, наш праздник национальный.
And he lives in a different city, and he called me on the 12th of June. He said, this is our national holiday.
Я позвонил всем своим родным, поздравил их с этим праздником, а тебя не знаю, поздравлять либо не поздравлять, ты же у нас иностранный агент.
I have made phone calls to all my relatives and friends. I congratulated them on our national holiday, and I don't know if I should congratulate you because you are a foreign agent.
И он не шутил.
And he was not joking.
You wanted to say something, Björn?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that by introducing these laws, the Foreign Agents Law and other laws regulating civil society organizations in Russia, the aim of the Russian government is not to increase the level of transparency. It's not to increase the level of insight into the economic affairs of these organizations. It is to hit their activities, to make it more difficult for them to work, and by doing that to control and reduce the activities of groups, people, organizations that are considered to be problematic seen from the government. And in many ways this is part of a larger picture where the Russian government is trying to control and reduce the activities of groups in society that they consider as problematic. It's not only about civil society organizations, it's about political opposition, it's about independent media, critical journalists, and so on. So what we are discussing here is, for me, part of a bigger picture where the Russian government, the Russian president, is trying to increase his control over society.
This is where we should have had a representative of the Russian government. We should. If any of you want to think that we are too harsh and want to speak up, please just raise your hand and I'll try to keep an eye out for you. And please, if you have any questions, just ask them.